Welcome back to Behind the Deal with Rod and Monty. Monty, good to see you, bud.
Good to see you, Rod.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us back in your beautiful home here in Martinez, California.
You're very, very welcome.
Great view outside there.
It's good to see you, brother. Good to see you, Marcus
And
Jackson.
Marcus pulling it all together,
The
making it
number one.
happen is for us.
Number
You guys
one.
can't see him, but I promise this is the mastermind behind the scenes over here. And he's making this all possible
smiling.
so we can do this.
I love it.
So
I love
thank
it.
you
Thanks,
for
Marcus.
putting this together, Marcus, and coordinating everything. We do appreciate you.
So we were talking. We figured maybe let's let people know how we met, where we bumped into each other the first time. So
Gotcha.
when I got my license, my first transaction was a listing. A really good friend of mine and my wife's, this woman named Marissa, was selling her condo. Her husband, her now husband, Michael, had done. He's a general contractor and had done all the renovations on it, and they wanted to sell it. And she said, "I want you to call my friend Monty to do the inspections. He did the inspections when I bought it, and I really want you to use him." And so I reached out to you, and one thing led to another. We have very similar in a lot of ways. We have a lot
of mutual friends.
Yeah, a lot of mutual friends. Yeah. So come to find out that we're both on the same wavelength. So, that's how we met and how this kind of relationship. Now it's so funny. I call Monty. Sometimes I'll call Monty instead of calling Sonoma to schedule an inspection or just to ask him a question about inspections or whatever the case may be. And we end up on the phone for 45 minutes or an hour. Right. And that's why sometimes I call Sonoma instead, because I don't have an hour to talk to Monty. So
I understand.
Yeah, here we are. I think we were going to dive into a little bit of like setting expectations, right, with our clients. And I'm
I wanted to ask you about that,
Yeah.
setting expectations. So when you have that client, because you see the memes, it's the the client wants $2 million for their house, and you see this little, let's say that it has deferred maintenance and it needs some love.
Yeah.
And they're wanting to price it as the same price of the one down the street that had an addition, it's been fully remodeled and it's pristine condition. And they want the same price for theirs. Or, with the way the market goes up and down, sometimes, well, my neighbor got this amount, so I should get that. It's like, well, you should have sold it when he did. So how do you deal with that without pissing them off, without pushing them away?
It's delicate. It's a very delicate conversation to have.
Okay.
Going into it, so let's say it's a listing appointment, right? And it might be the first time I'm meeting these people. I try my best to find homes that are similar in build. So built around the same era. Square footage is similar. Room count is similar. Yard space is similar. And I will put these together, and we call it, they're comps, right? They're comparable properties. And so
that's not what the appraiser does? I thought that was their job.
It is, but they dig deeper into, I'm doing basically like a light appraisal. And
you're doing this up front as
I'm doing
opposed
this
to
up
down
front.
the transaction.
Correct. So once I walk in and sit down with them, and I have it, it's a live format, so you can kind of scroll through photos, right? And what I try to do, I've tried to get as much information out of the client ahead of time to try to determine what condition I think their home is going to be in. Mm-hmm. And then the hope is that some of the properties are in my comps, like at least one of them is maybe a little bit in worse condition. Maybe one's in a little bit better condition. Maybe one's kind of right in there. And I'll also pull what the market has done, right? So like in their zip code. If all of these houses are in the same zip code, I can really kind of zero in. Okay, well, we're looking the median price.
Is it really that specific by
Yeah.
zip code?
Yep, I can do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So so let's say home A sold 2 years ago, and median price was 800,000, and we're equivalent to this home, but now median prices are, say, down 4%. Then we're going to adjust the same way an appraiser would adjust. They'll do a time adjustment, and they'll dig in a little bit more than that. But it gives us a good starting point. And so I'll look at this and I will turn it back to you, Mr. Seller, and say, okay, this one has an updated kitchen. Does yours have an updated kitchen? Let them answer that. This one, is about 300 square feet bigger. Their yard is landscaped. Where do you see your house landing
Compared
in there?
to that one.
Right.
Okay.
And they say, okay, it's more like this one. And we go, okay, great. So that's a perfect jumping off point. And then on top of that, I explain to them that, listen, listing price is not the price we're expecting to get or hoping to get. It's a marketing tool. We want to drive traffic. We want more eyes, more offers equals better for you. Mm-hmm. So if you, Mr. Seller, you're obviously going to move somewhere, you're probably looking at, these online platforms that have homes. If you think that you can afford 1.2 million, are you looking at, are your parameters set up to go up to 1.3 million? Or are they set up to go up to 1.4 million? Or are you capping yourself at 1 million? And why? Right? Because I can tell you that that house that says 1.2 as the for sale price might get more. Mm-hmm. So let's put ours in the spot that we want it to go over asking, right? Because we want more people looking at it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because if you price it too high, you're going to limit the amount of traffic and you may get an offer at whatever you're asking or below. But if you're putting it a little below value, more people are going to want to see it because they think of it as this is an opportunity,
right.
This is a deal.
Exactly.
And then which, in the end, is actually going to push the price up above that. So,
right. And so through that listing process, I end up fielding phone calls. So on my side of it, right, that a lot of people in the public don't necessarily know that we have disclosure packages, which has a lot of information. That's where your home inspection report goes. It goes into a disclosure package. Sure. I put the home for sale on the MLS. Buyer's agents can request the disclosure packages, and then they get that. And there's a lot of information in there about the home. I look at, okay, I've got 30 disclosure packages out. That means that I've got 30 agents that have looked at this and at least pulled the disclosures and probably shared them with their clients.
So yesterday, I get a call from a buyer's agent, and she wants to ask me questions about a report that we did for the seller and the seller's agent. Well, it's a privacy issue. We can't just disclose that with anybody. And so I said, well, hang on a second. Let me reach out to the agent, make sure that that's okay, and then I'll circle right back to you. And so I called up Derek, the agent, and I said, I've got this person who would like to discuss it. Sounds like she has the report in front of her. I just want to make sure it's okay with you. And he said, well, what is her name? And I gave the name, and he said, oh, yeah, she has a disclosure packet. So now it makes sense.
Right.
She was one of the people to request it, and he was like, oh, yeah, go ahead and talk to her.
Right. Yeah,
So,
totally.
okay.
So he knows that, right, we've got one on the hook, right?
And then so I talked to her. The client has some concerns about the foundation. They have concerns about the roof, and they have concerns about the electrical. Okay. Well, it has a brand new roof. The foundation has a lot of retro work that's been done to it, where it's been reinforced seismic bracing,
Shear,
a lot of shear. A lot of stuff done under the house to make that good. The electrical was a little dated, and if they were going to add like a hot tub or a vehicle charger or something, it's probably going to need an upgrade. So, but in explaining this to this new agent that I've never spoke to before, she's like, I wish that, there was a way that I could say what you just said. So we'll just do a conference call.
Call your
client, put them on the phone, and we'll have a call. And she said, well, they're not available now. Can we do it like 5 o'clock this evening when they get home from work? No problem. She calls me back, do the conference call, ask them the questions, go through the report. They're very happy with the answers that I've given them. They're satisfied with it. Finished up the whole thing, and I call back Derek, which happens to be this is the first time we've done business together.
Oh, cool.
So I circle back to him, hey, Derek, just to let you know, just got off a conference call with Gwendolyn and with the buyers. Seems like everything's answered. I'm pretty sure they're going to move forward based off the conversation we just had. Just want to give you a heads up. And he's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I'm like, I probably should do that more often.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't normally make that call back because it almost seems like I'm bragging, like,
No.
oh yeah, look what I did for you, and
That's
it's like
partnership.
with you it would be because
Right.
we're friends and we talk about stuff,
Right.
and I would say, well, yeah, I had to tell him about this thing, but I also gave him some solutions and some recommendations and and stuff. So, but sometimes when you're dealing with a new agent and especially a listing agent, a lot of times those guys are very concerned. They want it. Everything it wants to be a certain way, and so it was. I don't want them to think that I'm just trying to kiss up to them or something.
Right.
And so, but with this guy, because of the conversation we had before, I was like, yeah, let me go back to him and tell him about it, and he was very grateful. And I thought, yeah, I should probably do this more often.
No, we have to understand, right? That's what we're doing. The over communication is better than under communication, is what I've learned. And so that's what I do with my clients, right? So setting expectations, I go in, okay, so you think your house is right in the middle of the road, right? Okay, so what we're going to do, and I lay out my pre-marketing, my pre-listing plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's in here, right? Like we talked about, all of the steps that we go through. Mm-hmm. And one of them is the inspections, and when I walk the property with them that first time, I point out things that I see. Mm-hmm. And not to brag, but being in construction for a long time and then flipping that on its heel and being in real estate for a while and seeing what comes up often, what concerns are expressed by buyers, and also watching the insurance climate these past couple of years. The Hayward, the one down on Ellery that we're getting ready for market. The first time I walked it, before the inspectors came, I saw that they had a sub panel, right? So in the garage, 4 circuits, and they were fuses. They were screw-in fuses. And I know that is a red flag for insurance.
Right.
So I reached out immediately. I reached out to one of my best friends, Alfredo, owns QPS Construction. Alfredo was one of our subcontractors when I was a contractor. And I reached out to Alfredo as soon as I got my license. And I was like, dude, I want you to take care of my real estate clients the way you took care of my construction clients. And he has done that. His family's great. His whole crew, he employs his whole family. He's a stand-up guy, right? Nice. He wants happy clients. He did all the windows in here. He did my Ipe decks. Like, I have him do work on my home. That's how much I trust him.
Right.
So I called him. I took a picture of it, and I said, hey, give me a number to replace this panel. It just needs to be upgraded to a breaker panel. Gave me a price. I said, awesome. Told my clients. My clients said, that's great. I had him send them a contract. I met the electrician down there. They swapped it out. It removes that speed bump in a couple of things. It removes it from your inspection because you come down and inspect it after that's done. It also removes it from the new buyers, right? The new buyer then gets asked, okay, what kind of, do you have a Zinsco panel? Do you have this? Do you have that? So I know that a Zinsco panel, those break.
Problematic.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of recalls on it.
Right. And so when I see that and my client wants to write an offer, I tell them, hey, listen,
We're going to have to factor in
right,
that.
that's going to need to be replaced within 30 days of you taking ownership of this property, or you're going to lose your insurance. Some people won't insure it. So my client was overjoyed. They're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. I had no idea. You know?
But that's what we were talking about earlier, is the fact that you understood that that was going to be an issue. It's not anything that the inspector's nitpicking on. It's not anything that the insurance. It's a problematic issue that needs to be addressed, and you understand that.
Yeah.
So rather than waiting and not getting an inspection and just going through your process and not knowing things like that, now you've got a buyer who gets a buyer's inspection, and that inspector says, hey, that panel's problematic. It's going to need to be replaced, and it's probably going to be $2,500 to $5,000.
Right.
And now we've got a hiccup. Now we've got a speed bump in the transaction. Escrow gets held up while we figure out what's going to happen with this panel. While you
Right.
figure out what's going to happen with that panel. And so by doing what you do, the way that you handle it, because I know a lot of times we go out, we do that preliminary inspection for you, and we'll put a list of things that says these are on the red summary, these are bad things. They may not be big things, but they're things that, a non-protected outlet next to a water source that somebody could get
Right.
right, stuff like that. So it's inexpensive to fix, but it is going to be a safety item. And so you're going to have that safety report. That's also going to be big ticket items, or things that potentially could be big ticket items if they're not addressed right away. But then you also have a blue summary, which is things like make sure you clean the gutters and don't store heavy stuff in the attic, that type of stuff.
Right.
And so what's nice is a lot of times working with you, we'll send that initial report over, and you'll go through it and you'll be like, I fixed this, I took care of that, we took care of this. If it's simple stuff, you can just take a picture. That broken window is no longer a broken window. That's all we need to update the report. Sometimes it's a system that we actually have to physically come out and check, but for the most part, we're trying to do this the easiest way that we can between us, because there's a certain amount of trust that we have. Because if you tell me something's fixed and it's not fixed and it's just going to come back on you. And so
Right.
you're not going to misrepresent what's going on with the house. And so because we have this long-term relationship, if you take a couple pictures and say, fix this, fix that, fix this, then that's off the list. And now 5 or 6 steps down the road, it doesn't come up. And now it's not an issue. And now we got to talk about it. We got to put numbers on it. We got to all that stuff. You've already addressed that issue way back here. And now it's smooth. You've taken care of all the little things that could hold up an escrow, or that could keep a deal from closing on time. And you've already addressed them up front.
Well, and I want clean reports. I want to expand.
Not too
No, well, I want to expand the buyer pool as much as possible for my, and when we can remove as many of those red items, which oftentimes the red items look scary to the layman, but are not expensive.
Right.
When we're talking about GFCIs.
Or a loose handrail on a
Right.
stair or something. It's a couple screws to tighten it up, but potentially somebody could hurt themselves
Right.
if you don't fix it. So yeah, it's a red issue. So that's the thing that it's so frustrating. I'll get a phone call and they'll say, well, you said this, and what about this? And I'm like, well, what's the report say? Well, I didn't read the report. Like, okay.
You should probably do that.
Yeah, so go look at to see what I put in there, because
part of your
most of
job.
the time I will put in there, not most of the time, probably 99% of the time, there will be a solution to it. And if you read the solution, most of the time you're like, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate having an experienced realtor who pays attention, does their homework, reads through the things. And you'll ask me sometimes, is that a big deal, or is that something that we can probably, well, if you did this and this, we could change it from red to blue, because it's not really that big of a deal, but we have to bring it up because somebody else is going to.
Right.
And we want to make sure that we're not casting any doubt on you as a realtor, as that seller on that house. We want to over disclose, if anything. So
Right.
then that way everybody is protected, because from a seller's point of view, that's a big part of what we're there for. We're there to cover their butt. We're there because they can say, I got an inspection. I'm not a contractor. I'm not an inspector, but I had a contractor inspect it. This is everything I know about the house, And so at that point, they're kind of off the hook. The liability kind of comes over to us, because then if we miss it, it's on us. But That's the idea, is to get that peace of mind out there, set those expectations so that they know what to expect. They know that, we get there and we tell them before we go, we're telling them we're going to be there 3 to 4 hours. There's going to be multiple inspectors and we're looking at everything. And people are like, we get there and they're like, oh, it's going to be like an hour, right? You're like, no, it's going to be like 4 hours. And they're like appalled it's going to take so long. And I put it real simple. If you had to go turn on every light in this house, how long do you think that would take you to go check every light in the house? Now go flush every toilet. Now go turn on every sink. Now turn on every shower and every bathtub.
Oh, and write down your findings
Take
every time
pictures
you
of
do it.
everything that you do, right? So, but we know that if we go in and we tell them it's going to be 3 to 4 hours and we're out of there in 2.5, they're happy,
Right.
But if we tell them it's going to be an hour and a half and we're there for 3, then
No.
we got issues. So setting
expectations.
Setting
And I show up, I let them know. Like in Hayward, I knew that we were going to be there because I even had a chimney guy, Grady.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Love Grady.
by the way, for turning me on to Grady. Grady is the best dude. Grady, the chimney inspector, is 70-something years old
Right.
and is, I believe right now, he's in Tunisia.
Okay.
He is a world traveler. This guy is amazing. He's got so many stories and such a great heart. Like his heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
He wears a hat that says, what does it say? Humankind be both,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And just a great dude. So comes down, climbs up on the roof with his funny little helmet.
Right.
He's got a bicycle helmet.
He's a little 70-year-old,
Yes.
grumpy little old bastard. Just like, he's amazing.
And I trust every word he tells me about
Right.
a chimney because he's been doing it that long.
Right.
So I have my laptop, I've got my hotspot, I've got my little folding table, and I've got my chair, and I sit and
It's my office for today.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I walk around while the inspectors are there and the homeowner is there, and we're explaining everything. Josh Hodge with Axe Termite comes and he's like, hey, this is the first thing I saw. So he can show them. He's rolling the drywood termites leave pellets. He's like, look, it needs to be replaced. She's like, yeah, I knew there would be problems. Okay. Josh tells them, we put it on the calendar. And that's setting, like, they're right there.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes I FaceTime them. I'm here with the inspector.
Right.
We found this, so that they don't just see it in a report. It humanizes it. It brings it to life.
Right.
So that they can understand. Josh is amazing. Josh is like you, whereas I had a property, I was representing the buyer. We wanted to do a pest inspection. Josh went under the house. He's like, I know that this is outside of my purview, but I saw these cracks in the foundation. He's also a general contractor. And so he's like, these would concern me. And I know that I didn't see it on the home inspection. It wasn't done by you. And so we got to show the client that, right? Above and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's just the idea. That's the kind of people that we want in our network to do
Right.
business with. When we go out and we do a roof inspection, if we notice that there's an open junction box and there's wires sticking out in the attic when we're up there looking at the structure, I'm going to take a picture of that and put it in a report. That's that above and beyond.
Right.
It's like, no, it's not our job. And some people get mad. Some people are like, well, you're not an electrician. You're not up there to look at that. And it's like, yeah, but it's in a place that most people might not see it. And it's
super easy to fix.
And it's super easy to fix.
It's
And
$2.
it could be a big issue
Yes.
if you don't. So,
Right.
I would rather have somebody be a little upset with me because we over disclosed. Because again, we do not do it in an alarming way.
Right.
We do it in an educational way. This is the
you
issue.
hear that the house burned down 6 months later with a dog in it, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I
So-
don't want that resting on me.
Yeah, so we try to help set those expectations up front and let people know. It's just, when we're putting out the reports, we'll tell them, hey, this is going to be a 100-page report with 200 pictures and diagrams in it. It's going to look overwhelming. Go to the front of it. There's going to be a summary. Look at the summary. If you see something you have a question about, click on it, and it'll take you to that part in the report, and it'll give you more. And then if you have any questions, call me. Call me directly. I'm the QC quality control, answer guy at my company. And like if Tina goes out, Alex, whoever goes out and does the inspection, if the client has a question, I would rather that question come into the office and then come into me, because my guys are out there in an attic or under a house or doing what, and they don't have the report in front of them, and they're doing, 100 of these a month, and so, when they come to me, a big part of what I'm doing is again, it's setting expectations. It's like, you're going to discuss this with your realtor, and he's probably already told you that you need a home warranty, but your water heater is older and it's past its life expectancy. So that's what that means, that there's no problem with it and it's not leaking, there's no issues. But you probably want to have a home warranty to cover that, because it could go out in the next couple of years.
Right.
A
backup plan.
A backup plan. And not just checking a box and trying to get from A to B. Like say, okay, this good, that's bad, that's right. You know what I mean? It's
leaking, it's not leaking.
Yeah.
Let's give them a little bit more.
It's leaking under the bathroom sink, but the drain line just needs to be tightened up.
Yes.
That's it.
Right?
It's not a huge thing. It's just a couple twists on a little nut. It's not a big deal.
Hasn't caused any damage either.
Right. It's probably they put in a new sink and they just didn't tighten it down enough.
Right.
There's a couple drips under the thing. Don't worry about it, So, but then again, you have somebody that has a issue with their kitchen floods.
6 days after, so closed the transaction last Tuesday, got a picture from the fumigator, said, hey, this, my buyers wanted to get the house tented. There's some small termite evidence, and the fumigator went in, saw half of the kitchen had standing water in it.
Right, you showed me the pictures.
Yeah.
Looked like about that deep,
Right.
all the way across the kitchen.
And apparently the seller had removed, which they told us they were going to do. They disclosed everything. They were going to remove a water filtration system from under the kitchen sink. Apparently they're not a plumber, and they didn't put it back together quite right, which led to this leak. So now we're determining the flooring needs to be changed out and how to get that done. So, it's
And this
not
happens
just
in the middle of your escrow, right?
no. This is after. We closed.
Oh, it's
last
already
Tuesday.
closed?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is.
How do you navigate that?
I just put a sign in the front yard, and then I collect a check.
Yeah.
No, I get the
I don't
picture.
deal with all that other stuff.
Right. I get the picture from my client after we've closed, and she's like, "Hey, Rod, what do we do?" So I immediately reach out to my broker to find out the proper legal way to navigate it, because we've already closed. Mm-hmm. So, and then I reach out to the agent, the listing agent, and I say, "Hey, listen, this happened. Can you tell me what happened? Why this would occur?" They haven't moved in yet. They haven't been in the kitchen. They haven't done anything to the kitchen. They haven't started dishwasher or anything. And she says, "Oh, I think it's probably the water filter that they removed." Now I've got that they were removing the water filter. It's in texts. It's also in their legal documents, right? That's what one of the things that they were going to do. It's all agreed upon. But now I have a paper trail, right, leading back to this, so that we can go back and say, "Hey, listen, there's moisture under the floor. We need the floor to at least be peeled back, let the moisture dry, and then make sure that there's no mold or anything, and then put the floor back." And my buyers are not going to be on the hook monetarily for that, right? The seller needs to take care of that. So that's what we're doing today after we're done recording. We're going to talk to these people and the installer and make sure that gets done. So my clients can move in.
One of those situations that gives you anxiety or something,
they all
because you're
do.
like, you want your customer, but
Right.
then you got to deal with this, and so that's messy.
Yeah.
You didn't just put a sign and collect a check?
No.
Oh, a couple more steps, huh?
Yeah, a couple more steps.
I didn't realize that. There's steps involved to be done. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick to the easy stuff. Just inspect houses.
Just inspect it. Yeah.
That's it. I
Pass
can do is
along
take
the
pictures.
message.
That's all I
Right.
do is take pictures. So,
What do you want to talk about next episode?
I don't know. What do we need to talk about? Let's ask the boss. Any suggestions from the production
From
crew
the peanut
over there?
gallery?
Yeah. Come on, let me turn one of these cameras around on him. What else we got to talk about?
I don't know. Why don't you come back next time and we'll tell you then?
There you go.
All right, cool.
Talk about it in a minute.
See you soon.